We're going to put Jay on the hot seat. So Jay, starting over, what would you do differently, if anything?
Best piece of advice I have for everybody out there. When I was starting out flipping houses, I did what everybody does. I reached out to a couple of investors that were big doing it in my area, and I said, can I take you to lunch? Took some people to lunch. One guy I took to lunch, I don't even remember his name, but I asked the question you always ask. So if you could do things differently, what would you do? Same question you just asked me, I asked him, and he said to me, I've been doing this a long time. My biggest regret in this business is every house I've ever sold. I wish I would never have sold anything ever. And I think at that point, I just kind of laughed and said, I'm flipping houses. I'm making like 20K a deal or 30K a deal, which was a lot back then. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate that advice. That's not for me. Here we are 12 years later, and my biggest regret in this business is every house I've ever sold. Literally, I think back and if I would have kept, not that I could have reasonably kept every house I ever bought, but let's say theoretically I could have kept every one of those flips until today, my net worth would be about $40 million higher. Literally $40 million higher if I would have kept every one of those flips. So looking back, if I were to do it over again, for every 2 flips I did, I would have kept a rental. Or maybe every 3 flips I did, I would have kept a rental. And I would have started building a portfolio a lot sooner than I did.
Okay. Because a lot of people, they forget the reason why they get into real estate. And a lot of them, it's because of lifestyle. Hey, I don't want to go to work. I want to be able to vacation, want to be able to be with my family, but still have income coming in. And the only thing that can do that is passive income. And that's either, real estate, owning rentals, owning apartments, or stock investing, something like that. But a lot of people see the sexiness of fixing and flipping, wholesaling, and it's a transactional business, and you're making moves, but it's just another job, so
exactly.
That's one of the things that I say too. Hey, I wish I would have kept some of the houses that we flipped and wholesaled, and I would have a larger net worth. Okay.
Yep.
Flip
a couple, keep a couple. Flip a couple, keep a couple.
There you go. Yep. Keep that money generating and then have that passive income coming in. You got it. Yep. What is one of the characteristics you believe every successful or high producing investor have to have?
Well, you said it earlier, but I'm going to repeat it because it's true. Persevere. In this business, especially these days, it can be tough to get that first deal. It can be tough to get that next deal. It's really easy to give up. And the only difference between successful investors and those that never make it is perseverance. It's not giving up. Anybody can do this business. Anybody can be successful in this business. You just have to stick it out until you make it. And so for me, it's that simple. Never give up.
There you go. So perseverance. So Jay, man, you've written plenty of books. Share with us some of your books, man, so people can go, to Amazon, to BP, wherever they want to go and get these books that you've written.
Yeah. So I like to write books that I can either, one, I think you're better than anything that's out there on the topic, or I just can't find anything on the topic out there that's worth reading. The first book I wrote was the book on flipping houses, which I read a lot of flipping houses books, and most of them were good, but they were mostly stories and mindset and getting people excited about flipping houses. I really wanted to write something that was tactical. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And so I ended up writing a book called The Book on Flipping Houses, which is basically 20 steps to getting your first deal. As I was writing that, one of the chapters was how to estimate rehab costs. I think it was like chapter 14 or step number 14 in that book. Okay. And I started writing, and that ended up being a 200-page chapter. I'm like, well, we have this book that's like a 200-page book, and one of the chapters is 200 pages itself. So I split that out. I split out the book on estimating rehab costs, which was originally a chapter in the book on flipping houses. I released those 2 books together back in 2013. And again, if it doesn't matter if you're doing a $20,000 mobile home or a $50 million apartment complex, the methodology for estimating rehab costs is the same. So that's the book on estimating rehab costs. A couple of years later, what I realized was there were no good books out there on negotiating. Okay. And a lot of our success, my wife and I, has been because we're really good negotiators, especially she's an amazing negotiator. But there were no negotiating books specifically on real estate. So we said, let's write that book. So my wife and I, with a co-author, Mark Ferguson, wrote the book on negotiating real estate a couple of years ago, all about how to get more deals and better deals through good negotiation. I'm very proud of that book. And then one of my hobbies is economics. I'm an economics geek. And so a couple of years ago, I said, there's no good books out there for real estate investors on how the economic cycle works and how economics works. And so I wrote a book called Recession-Proof Real Estate Investing, which is all about how economic cycles work and how we as real estate investors can change up our investing strategies and tactics throughout different parts of the economic cycle to maintain and increase our profits throughout that part of the cycle.
Wow. So 4 great books right there, guys, from the novice investor learning how to flip a house all the way to a seasoned investor want to learn about market cycles and things like that in real estate. So go out, get those books. I'll have some links in the show notes to the books. That way you guys can go and get them. Jay, again, is very seasoned investor. So you want to learn from some people that have been there and done that before and not just talking about it. So, and Jay is one of those guys and a very good guy. So Jay, in parting, man, give us some words of encouragement that you would want to share with someone that maybe hit that bump in the road and they're on the fence saying, okay, well, I don't know if I can continue on, or should I turn back and go to my corporate job? Give us some words of encouragement.
Yeah, so this goes back to the perseverance. Here's probably the single most important lesson I've learned over the years. I've talked to literally thousands, maybe tens of thousands of investors over the years at conferences, over email, lunch, everywhere. And what I found is there are 2 types of investors. There's the 99% of investors who never, ever do a deal.
Yep.
They give up before they get to that first deal. Then there's the 1% of investors who I meet who have done 5 and 10 and 50 and 100 deals. You know who I never meet? You know the type of investor I never meet? I never meet anybody who's done 1 deal. Because in this business, if you do 1 deal, you're going to do that second pretty quickly. Yeah. And that third even faster, and that 5th and that 10th and that 100th even faster than that. Nobody stops at 1 deal. A lot of people, most people stop at 0 deals. But nobody stops at 1. And if you can get that 1, I promise you, you're going to find that you've created a career for yourself that you can leverage for the rest of your life. So don't think this is too hard. I can't do it. I'm going to get that first deal and then I have to start over and do this. No, you don't. Because you get that first deal, everything falls into place and you're going to get that second deal so quickly after that, and that third deal so quickly after that. So if I were to give one piece of advice, don't quit until you get that first deal. If you get that first deal and you still want to quit, then quit, but you won't. Nobody does. So get that first deal and then make that decision if you want to quit or not.
Words of wisdom from Mr. J.Scott. Thank you so much, Jay. Those were excellent words of wisdom. So guys, you know it. If you're right there and you haven't done a deal, the only thing you need to do is that first one. That first one is usually the hardest. And like Jay said, after that, 2 comes right around the corner, then 3, then 4, and then you're ready to scale and build a team and everything like that. So stick with it, have the perseverance to get from 0 to 1. And then after that, the sky is the limit. So Jay, I want to appreciate you, man, for being here. Share with us. I know you're going to be in New Orleans in October. Kind of give us some background on that for those who want to come out and see you.
Yeah, so Bigger Pockets is doing their 2nd Bigger Pockets conference in New Orleans, first week in October. I'll be speaking there. My partner Ashley will be speaking there. My wife and my life partner and business partner Carol will be speaking there, and so many other amazing speakers. Come out, visit us, introduce yourself, because I'd love to meet you. And if anybody wants to connect with me, anybody might want to invest with us, go to connectwithjscott.com. And that'll link out to my website and everywhere else you can connect with me on social media and my email address and everything else.
All right, there you have it, guys. So the first week of October, don't meet us there, beat us there at the Bigger Pockets Conference 21. I will be there, so you'll get a chance to meet me. You'll get a chance to meet Jay and the other speakers and the other participants. And the good thing about these conferences, not just meeting the speakers, but meeting other peers that are kind of going through some of the same things that you guys are going through. And a lot of times you find partners in your own community and in your own state right there at these different conferences. So it's not just the topics that are there, but it's what you learn and what you glean from just by meeting those other people and making connections. So the first week of October. That's the Bigger Pockets Conference 2021 in New Orleans, Louisiana. Meet Jay there. He'll love to meet you.
Awesome. Thanks, Marcus. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jay. Guys, you know what to do. Take the action, run with it, and go and get started. Remember to always enjoy the journey while you're doing it. All right, guys, that was Mr. J.Scott. Again, he's a very big Bigger Pockets contributor. I haven't had a chance to meet him yet, but I will in New Orleans. But I read a ton of his content, a ton of his articles and his books, and vice versa. So, guys, the information is out there. Like I always tell you, you can always find the information. You can always find the content. But what you have to do is you have to go out there and you have to do it. Jay said it very, very clear. He said he's never met one person that have only done one deal. Once you get that first deal done, you'll continue to do more and more and more and more. I remember when I got started, it was an 8 to 9 month struggle for me to get my first deal done. But I knew, and I persevered. I knew once I get this first one done, I know that I'll be able to take what I learned from the first one and do the second and the third and the fourth. So guys, again, don't give up. If you're at this brink and you're saying, hey, I'm trying to get this deal done and it falls apart, or I get to the finish line and something happens, that is just life telling you, you got to work a little bit harder. You got to connect with a few more people, and you will get over that hump and you'll get that deal done. And remember, you'll look back and you'll say, wow, I remember my first deal struggles, because I remember mine. I remember putting in offers on properties and doing direct mail and getting cussed out and putting the property under contract at market value and buyers laughing at me and everything like that. But I am so thankful for those experiences that I went through, because now I can share those experiences with you, and it gives me a greater sense of gratitude now when we do each deal going forward. So guys, take the information, get out there and do something with it. You have the 4 books that Jay mentioned, which is going to be in the show notes. You have the 4 mistakes that he made. He overpaid on his first property. He underestimated the rehab on his first deal. He underestimated the holding costs on his first deal, and underestimated the overestimated the resale value of the property. So he made 4 key critical mistakes in the 4 key critical areas that you can't make mistakes, and still had success. So guys, that is there to let you know that no matter what mistakes you make, you can still be successful. You just have to learn from those mistakes.